YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here. We another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how the Washington Commanders are gathering national media's attention from their draft performance. We're also going to be talking about quarterback Jaden Daniels giving credit to why he was so successful at LSU last year to a German virtual reality headset, and how the Washington Commanders plans on adopting that and using it at the next level for them. Let's talk about that and much more coming up here soon.
All Phil? Left. What I want?
Get back slow. I love the way she rock it. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, the shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty's no beginner. She's confident. I love the way she move it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Juan Gotti again. As always, before we get to it though, I ask that you guys do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on post notifications. Before we get into today's topics, I want to let you guys know that I am officially using my Canon camera. I figured it out finally how to use it as a webcam now, so the video quality should be good. Let me know how it looks on you guys in the comment section. Am I crispy? Do I need to work on some things? I'm still figuring out the kinks, so it may not be perfect right now, but I definitely want to let you guys know I officially figured it out how to set up my camera to my liking. But again, the kinks are just now getting worked out, so hopefully in a week or two I will have it to the standard that it needs to be. But this is the first video where I officially figured out how to use my camera as a webcam. Now with that out the way, let's get to today's topic. So the Washington Commanders are gathering national media attention from their draft. Let me say that again for the people that are not listening. The national media is showing the Washington Commanders some love. When is the last time that happened? Oh, let me let you guys know in on a little secret. The last time that happened was probably while I was gone, because prior to us, hiring Dan Quinn and us getting Josh Hurst, we never got any national media love. So again, it's just now happening for us, and trust me, I want you guys to get used to this feeling. It's going to happen a lot now that Dan Snyder is no longer the owner of the Washington Commanders. So here, I'm going to let you guys listen to the praise that NFL Network's, I want to say Cynthia Freeland it is, that gave the Washington Commanders some credit. Not only did they give us credit for us revamping our offense in the draft, but they also, Robert Turbin, running back from the Seahawks, that's on NFL Network now, also went out his way to give credit to the Washington Commanders defense. And a lot of these other teams that was here on the show with them, they only gave them one side of the ball. We got both, and we got it back to back. So I'm going to let you guys hear this little clip from NFL Network, and then we're going to discuss it and then move on to our QB, Jaden Daniels. Enjoy the clip, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't not bring up the Commanders. Now, they didn't have 2 picks in the top 10, so they didn't add a wide receiver, but they got their guy. They got Jaden Daniels, and that pairing with Cliff Kingsbury is going to be enormously helpful for a team that already added Austin Eckler. By the way, you got a McCaffrey there.
Yeah,
Things
that's right.
are good.
There it is.
And then Ben Sinnott, too. Don't sleep on him. That's a tight end that could be extremely valuable. Cliff Kingsbury likes to make those tricky little tight end plays.
Okay.
I'm calling it now.
All
We're
right.
probably going to be talking waiver wire pickup. Let's call it October?
Okay,
We're going with October for that. But Jaden Daniels, getting your guy, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, and Luke McCaffrey, all he's done is improve in his short time as a wide receiver. Flip to the defensive side of the ball here, CD. Which teams do you think improved the most on that side?
Well, I've been hanging out with Cynthia, and I'm just going to stay with her team in D.C. and go to the other side of the ball. Cynthia mentioned getting their guy on offense. They got a plethora of guys on defense who are going to help them. And remember, their head coach, Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, Joe Witt Jr. is the D.C. But they got Jerzon Newton, Johnny Law up front, defensive lineman. They got Mikey Sainris still, nickel cornerback. And they got a guy that I like a lot, later rounds, Jordan McGee, outside linebacker, a run chase guy from Temple that I liked better than many people did. And he's going to push to be a starter for them soon. I love what they did on that talent side. And Dan Quinn motivating Joe Witt Jr., coaching them up. They're going to turn them loose immediately because Sainris still's an immediate starter at nickel. Johnny Law's going to rotate in the defensive line behind Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. And then, of course, you've got the guy back deep. He's going to do some damage as well. I'm talking about McGee. He'll be right there behind Jamin Davis. Jamin Davis better be ready to go come training camp time.
Yes, he better. Now, I do want to apologize and say it was not Robert Turbin. It was Charles Davis. My fault, CD. It was Charles Davis that gave us credit on our defense. But did you guys hear that? Not only did they give us credit for our offense, but also our defense. That is very, very shocking to me because it basically just shows us how good Adam Peters was in his first draft. And to think that this was his first official draft, what could be down the pipe for next year's draft, the years after that, to the trade deadline, free agency. It is a very good time to be a Commanders fan, and the future is definitely looking bright. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about these key pieces that they talked about. They talked specifically about Luke McCaffrey and how he could be a waiver wire pickup for fantasy. I don't play fantasy at all, but if you guys are fantasy owners, pick up Luke McCaffrey before, he starts to turn into Puka Nacua. And people then starts to try to get him later. Get him while you can for your fantasy owners, because he definitely could be that slot piece that we're missing, especially in an offense like Cliff Kingsbury. That again, I believe he's going to run some variation of the air raid offense that he ran in Arizona, and that allows the slot receiver to eat a lot. Again, it's not a lot of underneath routes, but when they are having those drags, those shallow crosses, them slant routes, them in routes, he's going to be one of those guys that's eating alongside Terry McLaurin. So, Luke McCaffrey's who they mentioned. Ben Sinnott, who, again, you guys know is my favorite draft pick because I think he is so versatile. I think he can be a much better Kyle Juszczyk in the sense of he could be a much more better receiving target than Kyle Juszczyk. But he also can block. He also can play the H-back and be a fullback. So he's very versatile. He was my favorite draft pick out of this year's draft class. And of course, they mentioned the guy, the main entree in this draft, Jaden Daniels, and how he can be really good in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Then you flip to the defense. Charles Davis. This is something that I actually thought about on the spot because he kept calling him, what did he kept calling him? Jerzon something, I don't know. Lawrence or something, I don't know. Jerzon Law, something like that. I don't remember what he said. But he said something like that, and it made me actually think about the Cowboys' DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, let me actually rewind it right quick. I can just listen to it one more time so I don't be misconstruing what he's actually said.
Of course, you've got the guy back deep, starter at nickel. Johnny Law's going to rotate in the defensive.
So he calls him Johnny Law. Again, I just wanted to double check and to hear it before I kept messing up. But he calls him Johnny Law. And that got me to thinking about DeMarcus Lawrence for some reason. They call him D-Law. And the way Jerzon Newton was used at Illinois is kind of like how the Cowboys used DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence can play interior and he can line up a little bit near the edge. And that's how Johnny Law was being used at Illinois. And the connection there, similar to how Adam Peters' connection to Ben Sinnott, we made the comparison to Kyle Juszczyk. Maybe this was Dan Quinn's pick, and you could compare him to Cowboys' DeMarcus Lawrence. And let's not act, I understand he's a Cowboy, but let's not act like Tank Lawrence, when healthy, isn't a monster. So if your comp is DeMarcus Lawrence, I'll take that all day. Especially with the rotation that we can have with Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and then now you add in Jerzon Newton, and you still got Phidarian Mathis when it comes to the goal line formations. That's where I think he'll thrive at the most. I'm not really sure if Phidarian Mathis is going to get any other PT, but down by the goal line, especially where he's going to thrive. And then he talks about Mike Sanford, who is going to be a day one starter, a slot cornerback, the one that we've been missing for so many years now. I mean, I can remember other content creators like Louis T, obviously. I mean, absolutely begging for a slot corner since 2020, 2021. Some of you guys in the comment section have also been begging for slot corners now too. But I just can remember, similar to how me and other people were begging for linebackers, you guys were banging the table for slot corners, and we just ignored it. We just ignored it. I remember it was Mike Hilton that we wanted. It was some other guys in the previous draft classes that we wanted, and Washington, Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio would just ignore it. But now or they would try to fill it with Danny Johnson. But now we actually got Mike Sainristil, who is going to be a dog. Nick Saban called him the best player in the draft. I mean, he said the best pound for pound player, better than Caleb Williams. Like, come on, that is, if that's not high praise, I don't know what can get you excited about it. But he's just a complete dog. He can do it all. He's not afraid to go ahead, get his nose dirty, because in the slot you got to get dirty, because you get your hands on the receiver. You're going to be, them outside runs on them pitches, them tosses. You're going to be there. And yet he's undersized, but he's compact too. A lot of people want to make the comparison to Quan Martin, and Quan Martin came along good last year. You know what I'm saying? Towards the end of the season, he came along good. But the difference with him and Quan Martin is, Quan, he's small, but he's not necessarily like built strong like how Mike Sainristil is. You know what I'm saying? I think Mike Sainristil is like 180 compact. Quan Martin, he's a safety. We thought he could potentially be a slot, but he carved out his role as safety, in my opinion. And that honestly, having the youth in the secondary is what's getting me excited too. We don't really have too many older guys. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Cam Curl, and I know I missed the whole Cam Curl saga, but y'all know I would have liked to have my boy KC back. But it's all good. We got Jeremy Chin for hopefully a year, and maybe he balls out and re-up or something like that. But just in case we don't, we got guys on this roster that can play. And then he went out his way to mention Jordan McGee, who I think is a Dre Greenlaw-esque. Maybe he could be a Fred Warner find, and I'm not talking nearly as good as Fred Warner, but just 50% of Fred Warner and Jordan McGee would be just fine. So the Washington Commanders again getting high praise for their draft class on both sides of the ball. And when you look at these reports, CBS, NFL Network, all these people that do draft grades, the Washington Commanders, I think the lowest I've seen maybe is just an A, or maybe a slightly, I think I've seen maybe a B plus on one of them. But for majority of them, it's been A pluses for this draft. And I'm absolutely ecstatic about what this draft means and what this future of this team could be. Now, to close out the video, we're going to be talking about our quarterback, the man of the hour, the guy of the face of the franchise, the future of the franchise, Jaden Daniels. So I guess in a recent interview, Jaden Daniels, he was asked about his success at LSU and who does he want to give credit to, and he went out his way to talk about a German virtual reality game or whatever. So this post is per Commanders coverage on Instagram. Go ahead and give those guys a follow. It goes to say, technology is wild. At LSU, Jaden Daniels credited his breakout year in 2023 to a German-made virtual reality headset, which granted him hundreds of extra snaps weekly. Now the Commanders plan to adopt the technology and get him one in DC so that Daniels can simulate games scenarios before each game during the week. I absolutely love this. Now, the only downside to this is that we let it out the bag. Like, we put it out there. So now if it's successful, you can expect other teams to now hop on the wave. But the plus side about it is we started it, and it could very well benefit him very, very good throughout the week. So he can get extra game scenario practices and get more real-time action throughout the week. Again, nothing ever replaces live real action, but I guess this did because it helped him win the Heisman. So again, the only downside to me is that we let the cat out the bag. So if it actually works and he's successful this year and Washington actually is one of the best teams in football and it's because of Jaden Daniels, you can almost expect a lot of teams to start stealing this from us. But hey, look, I'm all for it. When's the last time somebody stole something from Washington because of how successful they was? Maybe the read option stuff with Kyle Shanahan or something. I don't know. And RG3 that year, maybe that was the last time we invented something, which I highly doubt we even invented it. We just made it probably popular. And that's probably what is going to happen here because there are probably other athletes that does this, but with the success of Jaden Daniels, it can take it to the next level. So that's all I got for y'all today, man. Again, this is the first video with the new camera setup. Let me know how y'all think about it, and what do you think about these topics down below. How's the quality? Just give me some feedback on this video, and again, let everyone know your man Juan Gotti is back, coming for my throne, and that 10K goal is still going to happen, and it's still in reach, and I know we can get there. I'm back active, and I can't be more excited for what's to come for the Washington Commanders. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Peace.